guys, it's Sarah and today's Booklist Thursday. This is a video series I do with my friend Lindsay over at Lindsay's Little Library. And every Thursday we bring you some sort of list or book topic that we feel like talking about for the week. And this week we are going to be talking about books that broke our hearts. So I really thought about it and I didn't want to talk about a ton of books that I've just recently read because I've already talked about them a bunch. There's a couple in here that are a little bit more recent, but there's some that I definitely would read back in the day before BookTube, before Goodreads even, that I read and remember just breaking my heart completely. And some of these even made me cry. So the first one is one of my all-time favorite books. It's like number 3 on my list. The top 3 books in my favorites of all time don't really change. So number 3 is The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. This is a historical fiction book that is very, very popular for good reason. And it follows 2 sisters who are living in Nazi-occupied France in the middle of World War II. And you see them and how they both react to the wartime situations and how they both handle it very differently. One is a mother, and she is at home with her daughter by herself because her husband is serving in the war, and she ends up in a very forced situation that is very uncomfortable and unsafe for her and her daughter. And then you follow her sister, who is single, and she is fighting back. She's fighting back against the Nazis. She's taking no prisoners. She doesn't care what happens to her. If she loses her life in this effort, it's worth it to her. So you see these 2 sisters and how different their personalities are and how differently they're handling everything. And it was both beautiful and heartbreaking at the same time. It was written so beautifully. And again, just one of my all-time favorite books. And I recommend it to everybody all the time. The next one is The Art of Racing in the Rain by Garth Stein. Oh my gosh, I read this one a really, really long time ago, but I still vividly remember it. And this follows a dog. And this dog is adopted by a family. And you see how this dog connects with this family. And you see how this dog is able to pick up on things that the family is going through and dealing with and feeling. And you just see how important this dog is to this family and the things that he does for them. You guys, when I tell you I ugly cried in this book, I ugly cried. Dogs are my thing. I love dogs. I love them, love them, love them so much. I feel very strongly that dogs have a very powerful connection to humans, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful and heartbreaking, and I cried my eyes out because anytime a dog is involved, I will cry my eyes out. It's always going to happen. The next one is Snowflower and the Secret Fan by Lisa C. There was a very particular scene in this book that made me sob, and this follows 2 young girls who are living in China, and they are part of this ritual, if you will, where 2 girls are kind of slated to be pen pals. They don't know each other. They'd never met before, but they end up becoming pen pals, and they start writing to each other, and it's almost like a forced friendship type thing. They're from different areas. And so you're seeing these girls become friends, and you see them throughout their lives and staying friends and what happens to each one of them and how their lives go about and how they're different and how they're there for each other and how they're not. And it was really, really good. Now, what got me right in the heart was there was a scene towards the beginning of the book. So I kind of started out this book in tears, where they are doing a foot binding ritual. I can't unread that scene, and I really wish I could, because it was horrifying what this girl had to go through with foot binding. And I cannot believe that that was something that actually happened. It's basically a ritual where you're making your feet smaller. Think about how painful that would be. And what these women had to go through. And that's a real thing. Like I was horrified that this was something that was allowed to happen to young girls. I can't, like I wanted to throw up in my mouth. Like I want to do it right now. It was so gross. I was just bawling for this girl because I can't imagine what she was going through both mentally and physically through that process. I can't even imagine. And I was just sobbing, like broke my heart into a million pieces. The next one is The Song of Achilles. This is by Madeline Miller. And this one is a retelling, if you will, of Achilles and Patroclus. So in Greek mythology, Achilles is kind of considered the strongest warrior of them all. And he was somebody that they definitely relied on in the Trojan War, and he was kind of the hero of the Trojan War. And then you see his relationship with Patroclus, who was his confidant and his best friend and kind of his partner in all things that he was doing. And in this version, Achilles and Patroclus have a romantic relationship. You see that relationship bloom. You see how they meet. You see how they grow closer. You see all these types of things that are happening. And then you see their love story unfold and start happening. And, you know, all the way up to basically the end of the Trojan War. It simultaneously warmed my heart and then broke it into a million pieces. So it was just like, I went from, this is great, and I love these two, and oh, what a beautiful love story, and look, oh, they're overcoming all these things. And then by the end, I was a bawling mess because Madeline Miller just took all that hope and then just slashed it into pieces. And I was like, thanks for that. Appreciate it. But I mean, we're in the Trojan War, so nothing happy happened there, obviously. I mean, that's where we're going. And if you know the Iliad, you know how that happens, and it's a whole thing. But this book was fantastic. I loved it. And then the last one, we're going to talk about a book that I just read last month, The Serpent King by Jeff Zentner. Completely wrecked me. It's a young adult book that follows a trio of best friends who are in their senior year of high school, and they're living in a very small town in Tennessee. Each one of them has their own little issues that they're dealing with, especially the main character, Dill, whose father was a pastor in a church where they did serpent handling. And, you know, they handled snakes. And he is in jail now, his father, for not snake handling, but other things that are very bad. And so you see Dill dealing with the fallout of that. You also follow his two best friends, Lydia and Travis, who are both dealing with their own stuff in their own houses. And you're getting each perspective from all three of these teenagers as well. And when I tell you that this book made me cry, I mean, I could not see the words anymore because I had tears streaming down my face. My husband asked me if I was okay, and I said, no, don't even look at me. Like, it was a whole thing. This book completely wrecked me, you guys, and I loved every page of it. Okay, guys, those are 5 books that have completely broken my heart over the years and have made me cry. And yeah, and if you know me as a reader, I'm not much of a crier. It takes a lot to make me cry in a book, but it can happen. It can definitely happen. So yeah, let me know down below if you've read any of these. Let me know books that have broken your heart over the years. Like, what were they? Why did they break your heart? Do you cry in books easily? Let me know. Make sure you go check out Lindsay and see which books have been breaking her heart as well. I want to see her list too. So hope you guys go over and check her out. Her channel is linked down below. And we will see you guys again soon. Hope you have a great day. Bye.